Go. No one's on right now. Going live. We're live. Can you see?
I can see. Welcome to Pillage Overload.
Can you see? Welcome to Pillage Overload.
It's entirely innocent, I am.
Oh, are you now? Here I dare say.
Show.
Here I dare say. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Did you switch it over to?
Yeah, Yeti and GoPro.
The screen.
What screen?
That screen.
It's right there.
Yes, I know, but you're under control.
Oh yeah, I just gotta click it yet.
Okay.
Hi, Emily. Yes,
Hi, Emily.
first.
You're first.
She's got firsties.
You're our first.
She's got her
guest. That is.
Sounds so dirty.
Hi, welcome to
Hi,
the show.
Bobo.
Ooh, we got all the ladies coming.
Well, it's like the Loose Cannon Company is going to be like Lady Can. It should just be
the Lady Cannon Company,
right? I mean, by the time we're done with
be.
all said and done, we're gonna have like 4 guys in the crew.
It's gonna be me, Mike, and Todd huddled in the corner, like, what have we done?
I had to link my phone to the TV. Ahoy, ahoy, hoy, 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 hoy.
Hoy, hoy, hoy,
hoy, hoy, hoy, hoy, hoy. Hoy, 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 hoy.
We have officially lost it.
It's been a week. It's been a week. It's been a week. I'm ready to come onto a show and say it hasn't been a week. Hasn't been a disaster, a crazy week. To be. And we're only in the first full week of December. Did you ever have it? No, we never had our sanity.
No.
We never had anything.
You can't lose what you never had.
This is true. I don't ever know if I want it because it probably wouldn't be good if we had it.
I don't want it back.
No.
The hell with it.
It's bad enough, like at work, when I'm told, I was leaving work today and I'm handling 2 different things going on, two big different things we're trying to get squared away at work. So I'm out in the field. I'm doing a bunch of stuff with the field guys. I'm in the office doing a bunch of stuff with the office. And as I'm doing that, Mr. Willis is texting me because we're like talking number because I'm the numbers person in the crew. So we're making sure all that shit's straight.
Him and his epic timing.
And then you were messaging me about, I think that was later, but me and you were talking, trying to figure out what parlay it's going on. And then with work, and then I'm like, okay, we got Pillage Overload, we got the show, I'm prepared for the show, we're prepared for here. And I'm leaving and I'm giving a rundown to my coworker, and she's like, how the hell do you keep all that shit straight? I go, spreadsheets.
She does. Yes.
It's all spreadsheets.
Excel is your friend.
Excel's my friend. Spread them,
your
baby.
Friend.
Argaglen. Welcome aboard. Chad, hey, ahoy. See?
Ooh.
We are here.
Bring on the guys.
Bring on the guys.
Bring the men's.
The ladies were on first, as they normally are.
All right.
So we were just recapping however week's chaos. So we're gonna jump into it.
We're gonna dig it in.
So welcome. What are you doing? We're not done there.
I'm bringing it back here so we can draw the next drink.
We got to drink the first drink before we can draw the next drink.
Oh, yeah.
So
we should probably do that.
Yeah,
let's do that.
We should do that. Season 10.
I'm all about drinking a drink.
Oh yeah, I bet you are. Episode 8.
Even if I do drink
Captain
it early.
Blood. Did you sip it?
It tasted good. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my God, I would kill you.
No, I did not drink it yet.
Oh, he's just asking for an ass whooping this week. Ever since that week where he took the sip.
You're so on edge.
I am, because you
didn't touch it. She's already asked me like 3 times before the show started. You didn't drink your drink, did you?
I hear guzzling.
Before we even started.
You're guzzling. He's guzzling. So tonight's drink is Limbo from the Dominican Republic. It is 1 ounce dark rum, 1 ounce Galliano, 1 ounce chocolate liqueur, 1 ounce maraschino cherry juice, and that's why I was messaging you. Remember I said I saw it on Amazon yesterday. I was like, oh, maraschino cherry juice. You can get it on Amazon.
Really?
Yeah. Well,
oh yeah. Put that on a weekly schedule.
Yeah. So I was like, oh shit. So I messaged Emily. She's like, yeah, it's in my cart already. I was like, shit. Here I am thinking I'm all original.
That could be a new ingredient for my regular drink.
Yeah.
I'm down with that.
And then heavy cream, and then I didn't put chocolate shavings on it because I ain't gonna go that fasty.
We're not
fasty,
bougie
ain't
like
that fasty.
But hey, babe, what?
Says, I don't know. This drink is really good. It's also really fattening.
Great.
Maybe that's why they want you to work it doing the limbo. We're all ingredients in the blender with a half cup of crushed ice. And so
You gotta drink it, then do the limbo like 10 times to get rid of the calories you just sucked down.
And so we shall drink more rum.
Hashtag drink more rum. Oh, that is good. What's that flavor at the end?
It's the Galliano.
Oh, god damn, there's Galliano in this.
I guess I skipped over that when I was reading it out loud.
Yeah, you did. Shit.
I guess I missed it.
There's a lot in there too.
It's equal amounts to everything. Sounds
it
like
was good, and then all of a sudden, it hit me.
It's a good Easter egg drink.
All right. Somebody out there needs to go get some Galliano so you know what I'm experiencing here.
Em says I said it, you're just deaf. No, he's in denial.
It's not just a river in Egypt.
In denial. It's not bad.
At first. Until the Galliano goes. Ugh!
You mean until I told you it was Galliano?
Mm-hmm.
It was fine until I told you what it was.
Where's that cherry juice at? Could put more of that in here.
It's in there. You're good. So now you can draw next week's drink. Remember, I told you these are all your fault.
There better not be any Galliano in the next drink.
Why don't you like get a Sex on the Beach or a Hurricane or a Painkiller? Why don't you pick something good for once?
I'm trying.
No, you're not.
It's supposed to be random.
It is random. Your randomicity.
Randomosity.
Randomosity. Your randomness. The Galliano.
Big bada boom.
No shit.
No, it's called Big Bamboo.
Oh, Big Bamboo.
Had you going there for a second, didn't I?
Big Bamboo. Okay.
This better be good.
Okay. It's cruisin' rum, which we can use, Captain. I don't think that really matters. Citrus rum, which we have. Grand Marnier. I can never pronounce Mariner. Grand Mariner. Is that what that was actually pronounced? And lime.
I don't know. I need old man glasses. Let me see what.
All right, old man. It's a St. Thomas drink.
Where?
No Painkiller, M. Unfortunately.
Big Bamboo.
Big Bamboo. So
yes, that's Mariner. 1 ounce Grand Mariner. Juice of 1 lime. Lime zest. Use a drink shaker. Shake all ingredients vigorously and garnish with a sprinkle of lime zest.
It sounds like a very citrusy drink.
So we got 1 ounce of Cruzan rum. It doesn't tell you if you're supposed to use dark or
Marnier.
I'm guessing they mean
Marnier. It's Marnier.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. See, she's giving me hooked on phonics. Work for me. I love her. Everybody who watches.
Who said that?
Emily. It's Marnier.
Thanks, Emily. You freak.
Hey, Brownie. Yes. Brownie says it sounds Italian because it is.
It's
very Italian. I think. We'll see. We'll pretend.
I don't know.
It's a citrus.
What the hell is Grand Marnier? Somebody look it up. Google it.
Google it.
Somebody Google that shit.
You got a phone right next to you.
If it's anything like Galliano,
we're still
I'm gonna flush this shit down a toilet.
Guess what we're still having though? Big Bamboo.
You.
I like Big Bamboos and
it's wee stuff.
Orange liqueur. Oh, I think I got that. Like Sabatini.
See, I can do that.
Actually, I think we have that.
So I'm guessing by Cruzan they mean white rum because they don't say dark rum or.
I guess whatever. It doesn't matter. It says cruisin' rum because cruisin' they do have a gold rum.
I know, but
it's
usually
whatever.
They say that though if that's what they want you to use.
Whatever. We could do any of the above if we have all of this.
Yes, we do.
We have Rafael Sabatini.
We have Marnier.
Sabatini.
We have Grand Marnier.
Yes, we do.
What the hell would you use that for?
Because it's an orange liqueur. Should Emily remind me?
We just never drink orange.
No, we don't drink mixed drinks a lot anymore. We just started doing it again.
But not orange.
Well, guess what we're doing now?
Orange.
Aren't you glad it's not a banana?
Grand Mariner.
Aren't you glad it's not Galliano?
Aren't you glad I didn't say banana?
Aren't you glad you ain't an idiot? Yeah, Rafael Sabatini. I think he's Italian. I'm assuming he's Italian.
I couldn't even read that crap with my glasses on.
We'll get to that in a moment. Quick rundown. Really don't have too much about what's going
Yeah.
on. Next week, Irish
We
Festival.
don't have a whole lot of rundown this week.
No, it's been a rundown
Could
week.
be a good thing, I guess.
It's been a rundown week. So next weekend is Irish Festival. We're gonna go on Saturday. I think we're gonna skip MTA this year. If Willis isn't going on Saturday, we're not going Saturday.
If Willis doesn't come stay here with us Saturday night, I'm not going to MTA.
MTA, yes, Bo. I don't know. I don't want to go to MTA. We're
going
to Irish. I'm not
Bo,
doing
are
Irish.
you going to MTA?
Sunday.
We're going Sunday because the Irish Festival is Saturday.
And I'm not going to the Irish Festival on St. Patrick's Day. That's fucking insane.
It's close enough to be the day before.
Anyway. So order your cockade. Don't get pinched. Wear green. That's all I gotta say about that. Hold on, I need to turn the AC down because it's warm in here.
Yes.
And then we were talking show-wise, since we're on episode 8, we're gonna do 12 episodes. We got 2 more coming up. Our engineer pie episode. Hug it, engineer. I like to say that.
IR engineer.
IR engineer. And then it's gonna be Women History episode. And then the last week of the month, the 28th, we're gonna skip that week. We're gonna take a break. I'm also gonna be flying back from a work trip and as we all know, me coming back from a work trip and trying to jump on the show, I'm like,
yeah.
Fine, I go on Sunday, Irish on Saturday with you. Fuck yeah. We're gonna have a bunch of people on Saturday.
Bring it on, Bo.
So yes, okay, I'm game. We'll go together.
We're down.
And then this week's episode is brought to you by
Parlay.
More stickers. I got more stickers.
Parlay presents more stickers.
Parlay present more stickers. You can't really see here. Dragon Mike, of course, Drag Mike. I will have there's a video of us unbagging these. I'll be posting it soon. That will be on the website, but these are freaking cool. We got Pirate's Life for me. Hardtack. It's what's for breakfast. That one's probably one of my favorite. This is going to become a graphic. This is going to be a graphic tee next. I'm doing that one next. And then Pillage Overload hashtag.
We could do one for each meal of the day too. It's what's for lunch.
What's for I like that. Do it separate ones.
Or do one that has all 3. It's for breakfast, lunch, and
my original design had all 3. You said breakfast.
We could start.
I can put it back.
We started with that one.
Okay.
We got options.
So
we can do all of them.
All the stickers we're now getting are
because it really is for breakfast, lunch,
and
and
dinner. And your midnight snack and your maternal stack and your paternal stack. But we're getting the vinyl so you guys can put them on your car.
Yes,
and
these are outdoor stickers.
All of them have, the smaller ones you can't really tell. They got Parlay 8 written on them somewhere. But yes, they're coming out.
More stickers.
I'm obsessed with.
Are those on the website yet?
No, they will be this weekend. The other ones from last week were up there. The Pillage Overload sign, the Jar of Dirt, Pirates as Old as Dirt.
And Live Like a Pirate.
Was that the other one? No. The Tavern. We only had 3. The Tavern logo.
Oh, yeah.
Gonna slap on some magnets for my car. Yes! I actually have car magnet material for him to put onto the truck, and I want to put it on a car because I'm not a big fan of sticking them on the car, especially after we just did that with the truck. His old truck we got rid of.
Yeah.
And all the good stickers.
Pull all my good stickers off the window when I traded my truck in because I had some cool stickers on it. And then give up some cool stickers.
Well, we pulled all the good ones off, and the one that was that our Parlay 8 one was coming off. And then I know the place where you can get your new pirate decal. I have the name of that one, and it's at Blackbeard.
Okay.
So we can get that replaced because he's all sad without his pirate on the back of his truck. So tonight's episode came from National Reading Day, which is March 2nd. Last year we did the book talk episode where we talked about all of our resources. Obviously, a lot we do with historical reenactment, and on the show as well, we do a lot of reading, also YouTubing and watching movies. It's just
look, people still do that.
Yeah,
remember reading? Remember books? Remember books?
We cheated. We've been listening, so
we've been listening to the audiobook. So we actually haven't been reading it either. So
I was reading the first part with the book to try to keep myself focused, because the problem is I'm sitting there listening and then I start wanting to screw around with something else and then I squirrel. So no. But tonight's episode is about Captain Blood. And
Yes.
what we like to do, I like kind of theming it with the national holidays. Obviously, Reading Day is good. And Captain Blood came to mind because we watched the movie a lot. And I know that it was an adaptation from a book.
Yes, it's one of those movies we fall asleep to. So I was tasked with watching the movie and paying attention to it this time. When we put it on for bed, I'd never make it past like the trial in the beginning, which is like the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Emily says audiobooks count as reading, damn it.
They do.
Yeah.
Because boy, oh boy, is a book different than the movie. Holy moly. And we're about to get into all that, which is pretty crazy.
I actually am excited about today. It's pretty neat. So, a little background. The book Captain Blood was written in 1922 by Rafael Sabatini, as Brownie keeps repeating. Sabatini Farms remembers.
Welcome to the show, Brownie. You know what? Next week you come here and sit. You can do the commentary, buddy.
It was. He didn't do any sequels and anything. He actually wrote 15 short stories about his adventures in lieu of a sequel. And then they were later turned into Captain Blood Returns and the Fortunes of Captain Blood.
Yeah.
You like that? You like that emphasis right there? Yes.
Get it.
Yes. So 19 by the balls. By the cannonballs. So 1931 was the first combination of books, and then 1936 was the second combination book. So wait till we start talking about the book, and I'm gonna circle back into these 15 short stories about Captain Blood's adventures, because I'm gonna tell you what I really think they were.
Wow. So was the first one?
Yeah. So that's the first adaptation, 1924.
Yeah, I can imagine. We gotta find that somewhere.
Okay. So I wrote down the adaptations. He's just seeing it now for the first time.
Yeah, and it's funny. The first you forget. Okay. Well, you forget that the first one was made in 1935. So obviously the one with Errol Flynn, that one was made in 1935.
And it was Errol Flynn.
But you watch it and you forget that because it's dated for 1935. You forget the movies were only around for 20 years, maybe if that.
Maybe a little bit.
By that time,
I think they're a little bit longer, but yeah.
But still, I mean, not that long.
Did you think about
So they maybe had a good 20 years of making movies, and bam, this movie comes out in 1935, and it's, for what it is, was a really good movie.
The first of that adaptation of Captain Blood came out in 1924, starring J. Warren Kerrigan. I have no freaking clue, but yes, I'd be very interested in going watching that adaptation.
I just want to see the difference between that one and the 1935 one with Errol Flynn.
And then like I said, that there was 2 sequel books, ended up being sequel books of Captain Blood. The Captain Blood Returns and the Fortunes of Captain Blood. The Fortunes of Captain Blood was also done in a movie. And then Captain Pirate, a.k.a. Captain Blood, Fugitive, it was a UK movie, came out in 1952. All these are...
I'm waiting for... Sometime somebody's going to make one now, and it's just going to be... I mean, it would be... it's been long enough. At least... with that movie, it's been since 1935 since the Errol Flynn one came out. So I guess if they made another one now, it's been long enough. So you can't say, oh well, they just made that movie, whatever, 20 years ago.
It's whipped cream because it's heavy whipping cream, and I put it in the blender.
Okay.
Anyway.
Thanks for sharing.
I just was observing my drink. And the last movie was The Son of Captain Blood, which I don't think has anything to do with the books. It was, like Hollywood, who's unimaginative. And they had Sean Flynn, which was Errol Flynn's son. Flynn. So Son of Captain Blood was the son of Captain Blood.
How about that? How original.
No, it's not chunky. It's actually quite smooth.
That's what she said.
It's really alcoholic whipped cream. Wow.
With Galliano in it.
Oh, I don't know if that's what I'm feeling. So, the book, the audio book at least. If you have a Kindle, you can do your pace reading. It tells you how long it takes to read it. So I've been paying attention. It's not coagulated. It's whipped cream.
It just turned into whipped cream.
Because I put it in a blender and there's heavy whipping cream in it, so it whipped. It's
Yeah.
settled. It's not coagulated. It's not like the beach sailor. Oh my god, nightmares! Don't make me relive this again. I don't want to do it again. I don't want to do it again. I don't want to do it again. No, let me do it again.
Calm down. It'll be okay.
Okay.
Where's that air conditioning? Are you sure that was on AC?
No, I need to switch it to AC. Bloody hell! All right, Brady. He goes, bloody hell. Hold on. I must switch the heat to cool because I am getting flush.
Yeah, I don't think it came on.
No, because I just turned the heat down.
Oh, Lord.
All right, there we go. I turned it.
Lordy. Some air conditioning going up.
I changed it to AC. The beauty of doing beauty of a smart.
You'd be surprised.
It works when it works and it doesn't when it doesn't.
You'd be surprised how much candles actually warm up a room. Believe it or not, they do.
In our hot air.
So anyway,
this is
back to
really
back to the book.
So yes, hold on.
You can call it the book. You don't have to keep calling it the audio book.
No, I'm talking. I want to talk about the audio. When we were listening to the audio book, and I was reading out my Kindle, and it gives you. So the audio book, you look at it, it says 10 hours, and the Kindle gives you a pace to read, and the pace to read was about the same as the audio book, which was good. It means that they didn't cut anything out. So it's a 10-hour read if you're going at a leisure pace, and if you do audiobooks, they get extremely animated when they talk. So are you done with that?
Yeah, I'm done with that. The only thing good about it was chocolate.
There is chocolate in it.
Yes, I know.
So it's a 10-hour read. The movie is 2 hours.
Yes.
So
it's actually exactly 2 hours. It's like 1 hour and 59 minutes.
So they took a 2-hour.
What do you got?
This is
not coastering.
No, it's really wet.
It's fine. You're not gonna hurt anything.
Yeah, it's getting on the bar too.
You're not gonna hurt anything. It's okay.
Okay. It's distracted me. Sorry. Squirrel. Yes. So
the movie's 2 hours.
The movie's 2 hours. The book is 10 hours to read through. We have officially listened to 5 hours of the book. So we're halfway through the book. And if you are anyone familiar with the movie, we are at the point of, the point of the book.
In the book
is where Captain Blood and Levasseur fought. That's the definitive marker in the book.
Yeah.
I mean, in the movie that we know we have hit. It went ADHD. Hey, Mayhem. I am very much squirrel. So very much the that's where we know where it stopped in the movie, but the book I think we went another hour and a half in the book and haven't even hit anything similar to the movie.
It took a nice little twist. Too,
oh my god, it took a huge twist.
After the whole Levasseur
right?
Yeah.
So the introduction and background
after the Levasseur killing, just went off the freaking rails.
We're both looking at each other like, when are we gonna get to the part that we know, for crying out loud?
Because if you know the movie, you know like
the movie.
Right after that, he takes Arabelle Bishop. He takes her with him because that's what he paid for when he was paying off
the debt.
When he was paying off the debt and basically buying her from the Levasseur crew, he took off with her. Well, the book goes a completely different route than that.
Go ahead, I'm listening. I'll chime in once you're done with your comment. Are you going to comment more on that, or are we going to go through what else? I mean, here's the problem with this. Me and you are going to go on side tangents the whole time.
Yeah, so we're not starting from the beginning, though. What we need to do is start from the beginning.
Do you want me to start with the simple?
That particular part of the book takes a completely different route than the movie. And we'll get to that later because we need to start from the beginning of the movie.
Squirrel?
we're squirreling already and getting ahead of ourselves. So
Mayhem said the first pirate movies was 1908 and 1909. So I
What?
want to see this.
1908 and 1909.
Yep.
What?
So we must look those up. So the first two major differences between the book and the movie, when you just initially open it up, is the introduction and background of Peter Blood. When you are in the movie, it kind of goes directly into Jeremy Pitt is knocking on the door, coming and asking Blood to come and help. Then they're all captured and they're swifted away to trial.
Yeah.
Well, the novel
and keep in mind now, this is Charles is the king in the beginning of the movie, so that you have to keep in mind. So in this area, the movie takes place, or the story takes place in 1685.
Hold on, the book does. I don't remember if the movie
Yeah.
states that. I don't know if
The movie takes place in 1685.
Right. I got that.
Which,
Charles
going
King.
by that story, Charles II is king in the very beginning of the movie when the Monmouth battle is going on, and that's why Pitt comes and knocks on his door.
Are we want to know what war is going on? Hold on, we open up the Pirate Grail.
It's interesting that they picked that year to have the story take place, because
so 1685.
That year Charles II was removed as king and James II took over as king.
Yeah, Charles II, King of England, Scotland, and Ireland from 1660 to 1685, and James II reigned from 1685 to 1688.
And the reason that's important is because, so you go through.
You're jumping ahead again, just FYI.
No, I'm still in the beginning. of the movie.
Okay.
It quickly changes because once Blood gets captured, or once he's taken prisoner, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. Once he's arrested, you get to his trial, which in the movie is, like about 5 minutes in, not long, not long into the movie.
Yes.
He's already on trial.
Yep.
Where he proclaims his innocence, right? Well, by that time, James is the king. And if you pay attention, when the whatever they call him, the guy that reads the docket in the beginning of the court trial, says that James is the king. So we've already moved on to James being the king at this time, which obviously we all know that Blood hated him because he arrested him. And
irony enough, according to my wars involving England, this is wars involving England. So I didn't write down any wars outside of England, since mostly we've been talking about piracy within England and the Caribbean. But there is no war going on in 1685.
No,
it doesn't. The 9 Years' War starts in 1688. So that's interesting to note too. So when James ended James' reign is when the 9 Years' War began.
Which is funny because
P.S. England liked being in wars their entire life.
The movie takes place all the way up until like the 1690s too, because there's a few years he's actually a prisoner.
Anyway. Yeah. So
it's funny, they took him to Jamaica. Port Royal is where they went when King James decided, I need slaves in Port Royal.
Yeah, okay, so before you get into that, can I talk about the first two differences between the book and the movie? So the novel gives a much more detailed background on Peter Blood's life. I mean, much more background, including the service of the military and his reluctance to join the Mammoth Rebellion. The film really kind of gives a lure. He's a lord.
Yeah.
He's got the illusion. It's an illusion.
Well, when Pitt comes to get him, he talks about it to his maid.
Yeah.
About how he's been in this war and that war.
He's left now. He's the man. What do you say?
That was the only background they really gave in the movie about that.
So it's interesting. Hi, Bonnie. Because you understand more of the relationship of that with these officers that came and actually arrested him, he knew some of them. He knew some of them from his acquaintances when he was in that rebellion. So you really get an understanding of why the sarcasm comes out. He's saying, "I'm a doctor," and he says it in Latin. He's like, "Oh, you bastard!"
Yeah, and they totally don't go into that in the movie at all.
And once again, we're sitting up here. We let them out, and they say, "Let us out, Mom and Dad."
Yeah, well, they can wait.
So the second part is the Peter Blood's trial. In the book, Peter Blood's trial is more of a detail affair. Obviously, if we say that it takes 5 hours to get to the part of where Levasseur and Captain Blood fought, and that's what the first hour of the book movie. So halfway through the movie, you're halfway through the book.
You're
so
almost exactly halfway is when he's.
So you're condensing 5 hours of shit into 1 hour sack.
Yeah.
To be straight
so
of it.
As you can imagine, there are a lot of stuff in the book got cut out.
Obviously, the film was just going to abbreviate the process and make it a lot faster, which makes it more exciting because you're like, they didn't get their due process. What the hell is going on out there?
It gets worse too because they completely changed the movie plot from the book.
Yes. So, you want to talk a little? Okay, so you talked about how James II took over the same year by the time Blood went to trial.
Yeah. So
we're in our second.
Obviously, Blood's mad at James because he was arrested under his kingship.
James's reign.
Yeah, under James's reign. So
I'm not going far.
He was sentenced.
Huh.
Well, he proclaimed his innocence, and then immediately after he was sentenced, James decides.
God, I never thought I'd get side eye from a dog.
King James decides that he needs slaves in Jamaica, so he's immediately sentenced or sent to Port Royal because he commuted everybody's sentence and said, "Oh, we'll just make them slaves."
Yeah, it's one of those. It's
just kind of like you said in the movie, a living death.
And the book is the same. There's nothing different from that. That is all.
Well, the only difference I noticed in the book, I think, is they talk about how he was in Barbados. Did they send him to Barbados in the book? Because I don't remember that part in the book.
They were in Port.
Or did they send him to Port Royal?
They were in Port Royal. They were trying to. I don't remember about the Barbados part. I think it was Barbados is when they were visiting, when they were leaving.
He was in somewhere Port Royal. They visited.
He was still in Port Royal.
So he did actually
They made it to Port Royal.
Okay.
And
so he was a slave in Port Royal.
He was a slave in Port Royal. And then the relationship, obviously, in the movie with him being a slave there, what is it? General Bishop? What is Bishop?
Bishop ran a plantation.
Yep.
Well, first off, Arabella Bishop bought him because they
bought Blood.
Yes, he came in.
If you're not familiar with the book or movie,
in the movie, he was bought by Arabella Bishop because Blood was kind of being a dick and nobody wanted him. So she was like,
so that's what his
just to make him upset. She bought him, and then she didn't know what to do with him. So she ended up getting mad and giving him to her uncle who ran a plantation and the mines and put him to work on his plantation.
Yep.
And then the governor found out he was a doctor, and he had gout.
I think Arabella helped with that one.
Yeah. The governor basically said, "You're going to be my doctor," and kind of fired the doctors that he had. So
yeah. So the movie,
because he was a big puss.
The movie really accelerated the romance between Arabella and Captain Blood. Well, obviously the book, because you have
the book totally
10 hours of it. The development of the relationship is very slow. It's more of a gradual buildup of mutual respect and affection. And obviously up to the point where they escaped. When they escaped Port Royal and took the ship and became pirates, after that, it was like I think we went 3 hours listening to the book
Yeah.
where there was no Arabella
Yeah.
interaction, and there was very little talk of it. And the only thing about Arabella that ended up being mentioned was he named his ship, the one that he took, Arabella. Which in the movie they don't really talk about that.
Yeah, it was interesting. The movie, you never find out the name of his ship.
No, not at all. So that was very, very interesting that you figured that out. The other part was the Spaniards. So when they left Port Royal and went on the ship that they ended up calling the Arabella, they overtook the Spaniards. If you watch, they came down the deck and they were playing cards and drunk. And then while they're on the ship, they fired on and threw Bishop into the water, which, by the way, is in the book. That was the same thing. But I think they made him do. I don't remember if they did the plank or not. They just pushed him off. But it was similar to what happened with Bishop in the movies. What happened with the book. But the Spaniards that were left on the ship, you don't hear about at all, because all of a sudden they go right into pirating. Well, Jeremy Pitt apparently was very near death because of the whipping he had taken at the plantation.
In the book.
The book.
Yeah, in the movie he was fine.
Yeah, in the movie he immediately took over. He was great, even though he took a serious whipping when he was near death and all that. When blood showed up.
Well, in the movie they didn't think he was going to make it with them. And then he did, and by the time they left to go pirating after they captured the ship, he was a healthy. He was all fine.
New birth man. I'll tell you those. It's all good. I'll tell you those man. They
snap right back.
They snap right back like a rubber band. Like a rubber band. Tough. Like a rubber band. Those pirates snap right back. This Arabella Bishop must have had something to do with that. I don't know where the fuck that came from.
Yeah.
Anyway,
your Southern Belle voice.
So the Spaniards. Good stuff. So the captain of the ship that they overtook was a Spaniard. The Spaniard basically tried to pull one over Blood with where he wanted to go. He wanted to go to Caraco, and they ended up taking him to Hispaniola.
This is in the book now.
In the book, and Blood kind of figured it out. When they were in Hispaniola, they saw another ship coming up and ended up being the Spaniard captain's brother.
And by the way, none of this is in the movie.
None of it. Which I'm pretty sure if you saw them strapping somebody over the muzzle of a cannon, threatened to fire a cannonball through his innards at his brother's ship, that might be why they didn't show it.
Might be.
It's a family-friendly PG movie.
It was 1935.
They don't really like.
They didn't do that stuff in 1935.
So yeah, that happened. That happened in the book. So that was interesting. And you're listening to it, and you're like, "Holy crap!" And also during this time, the author Rafael Sabatini is referring to Captain Morgan's exploits, comparing Captain Blood to Captain Morgan, and
literally,
not
figuratively. No. He literally compared him.
It started with the irony because the book takes place around Port Royal. Captain Morgan. If you guys had spent any time with us, I think in season 8, beginning of last year,
1685 would have been
Morgan. Yeah. So if you guys had spent the beginning of last year with us, we did a 3-part series on Captain Morgan and talked about Maracaibo, the Rack of Panama City, the sack of Panama City. Keep that in mind
because Maracaibo is going to come up later.
But that's what I was like, oh my God, this is really weird. And you have to think it's 1922. You wonder what they really know about pirates or Captain Morgan.
Really? Yeah. That was one thing that when he started getting into Morgan in the book, and then all of a sudden Peter Blood's life in the book started taking on Morgan's life. So
not sort of.
It did. Almost. Like basically Sabatini turned Peter Blood's life into Morgan's life. He supplanted him. So basically in the book, whatever Morgan did, Peter Blood did.
Yeah, they talked about.
So instead of it being Morgan, it was actually Peter Blood.
Yeah.
So that was kind of weird,
It was,
and none of that was happened in the movie.
It was weird because Ballast and I did this really big. We did those 3 episodes talking about where Morgan was considered pirate privateer, and then when he was a governor and all that. And actually, if you think about it, the end of the movie, spoiler alert. If you haven't seen Captain Blood, the movie, I'm sorry, you're like 70, almost 100 years late now.
Yeah.
For like 6 years short of that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Spoiler alert.
In 2015, we did a showing of Captain Blood to celebrate the 80th birthday of the movie. We did it at the Oak Tree. Dude, yeah, you said that. Captain Mayhem said that. Yeah. You said that, and I didn't even think about it until we said that, and we're almost at 100. I'm going to start hyperventilating. I don't know if I'm ready for this. I'm not ready for this, but you wonder back then what they did know about Captain Morgan. So, but we know about Captain Morgan because we talked about him for 3 freaking episodes.
When the book came out, clearly there was no such thing as Captain Morgan rum, which is
which started the whole conversation.
How everybody in modern times kind of knows of Captain Morgan. You know the rum. Captain Morgan, everybody knows there's Captain Morgan.
He's not just a pirate; he's also rum.
Yeah. So back then there was no such thing. So I think he purposely took that to his advantage in the book and supplanted Blood in the story of or in Morgan's life and made that Blood's story instead of Morgan's story.
I asked him as we were listening, like,
because nobody knew any better.
Straight up listening to one of the battles, and was the governor. Yeah, and he was the governor of Port Royal. That's what I'm saying. Like the freaking parallels of it.
That's a spoiler alert we had for you at the end of the movie. He becomes governor.
Oh yeah, I didn't finish my thought. Thanks, man. He finished my thought for me. I kind of started panicking when I was thinking 100 years is getting close to this. But when we were listening to one of the parts of the book, one of the big, hey Tucci, one of the parts that happened with Morgan was that he played the Spaniards so well that they thought that they were going to be on the other side of the fort. It's a long story, but they moved the cannons from one side of the fort to the other because that's where they thought they were going to be. And they really weren't. And then they were rushing to get the cannons on the other side. This is history. This is reality.
Historically, this actually happened
when Morgan. Rafael Sabatini is saying it word by word. Can you plagiarize real life? Is this real life? Hey, B&L.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not plagiarism, but still, like, it's not fair. Like, he had a whole story laid out for him. He didn't even have to really write it. This was what Morgan did. He just put Peter Blood in there instead.
It makes you really want to go back and look at some of these other movies and see, like, how many of these real movies today that are coming out are based on history that we don't know about. Because you got to imagine that not a lot of people knew about that. Yeah, so it was just...
Well, one story
mind blowing
leads to another and is based off of parts and pieces and history. And, well, like what they did with Three Musketeers, Three Musketeers, there were actually Musketeers. Yes. And all the people around them in the story actually existed. Except for them. So they put them into historical situations when they weren't actually there. And that happens in movies all the time.
You know what they call that nowadays? Fan fiction. Fan fiction's when you take reality or whatever and you spur your own story to it.
Yeah.
Well, at least that's what they called it when I was in high school.
It's the fans making...
I don't even want to know what he's eating.
making movies out of parts of the stories that were never actually told in the movie itself.
That's
like they do that with
okay.
Star Wars all the time.
That's different. That's different. That's different. But straight up stealing Captain Morgan's exploits. Remember, I said at the beginning of the episode, he wrote 15 stories after the original Captain Blood about Captain Blood's adventures.
Yeah.
Guess what they I don't know. I haven't read them, but I'm going to assume they're Captain Morgan's exploits. Captain Hook is a villain, a victim, not a villain.
Captain Hook?
Captain Hook.
Where did Hook come from?
Jay. Chi-Chi. Captain Hook is a victim, not a villain. We're talking about the stories and how the portrayal of all that. So I get it.
He's a victim who became a villain.
But I'm...
So,
shit,
yes.
Make sure I'm on the right screen.
Yeah.
Because I was like, everybody was quiet. We're either entrancing them to join us or we really just bore them to death.
Hey, you know what? Stick around. We'll bore you to death.
This is what happens when we get into an episode that we're really passionate about.
All right.
This is like really cool.
So back to if we're going back to the story in the movie. So we've been covering the book. Obviously.
We'll catch more pieces of the book.
It went off on a Captain Morgan tangent.
Oh my God.
After
Nerds.
Blood escaped his
talk dirty to me
slavery. In the movie, it kind of just moved right along to Blood being like, you know, super pirate, and then he got in with Levasseur. Now
the Levasseur piece.
Levasseur.
Hold on. Let's get back to our Captain Morgan episode where I'm like, what the fuck? Go on.
Yes, this is then you run into the WTF moment where I was watching the movie. I'm like, let me just look up Levasseur, because for one, and Sabatini is a genius because he probably did this with Levasseur also because nobody knew who the hell he was.
We are talking the 1930s.
Made him a character in this book and movie because nobody knew who he was.
Nobody.
And nobody had Google back then to look and find out that
we had a pretty pirate book here.
He was born in 1695. Now, didn't we say in the beginning of this show that the movie starts
in 16?
It takes place over about 10 years ish, but it starts in 1685.
You said that part of it.
By the time he got to the point where he met Levasseur, it was probably about 1690 ish, because he spent 2 years spent 2 years as a slave.
Yeah,
I know, and they said that specifically in the movie.
Yeah, 1685, it takes place. King Charles transitions to James. So 2 years would have put it at 1687. King James is still king, and King James is still king to 1688. And honestly, after Levasseur in the movie,
so when did King James switch to William?
In 1689? So if
you want to
doing that math, because you know he has what's her name? Arabelle. He has at the whole in the movie he's getting Arabelle.
So Levasseur, he would have met Levasseur probably like
1688. I would say 88.
Yeah, or 87, somewhere in that area. Well,
we gotta remember when Levasseur took the boat Arabelle was on. Whatever that guy's name was, it was with Arabelle. He was trying to find Peter Blood. Remember? Yeah. He was trying to find Peter Blood because he was on behalf of King William. So King William was king.
And Blood never knew it until he came out with it one day like, you didn't know that
that's the same
James isn't king anymore? Like,
so that's 16.
And he's like, how the fuck would I know? I've never been out at sea and being a pirate all this time.
So that is, I'm trying to tell you, that's 1689.
Okay.
So 1689 was what we could say that this whole scenario with Levasseur. So maybe it was a short-lived it was a short-lived treaty with Levasseur. So I would say
It
maybe
couldn't have been
16.
more than a couple of months or
You're
way
pushing it.
less than a year.
Yeah, less than a year.
It was very
so
short time.
1688, maybe end of 1688 and beginning of 1689 when William is in there.
So
timeline.
Easily.
I like doing timelines.
Yeah.
A, B,
and
C.
As I just said, Levasseur, the actual pirate, wasn't born until 1695. So there you go. And he lived until the 1730, I think it's in.
I don't remember.
Like that.
Actually, Levasseur is probably one we should probably talk about more.
Yeah.
I'm making notes.
Yeah, he was a badass dude. Levasseur, don't know, but as far as like this story goes, yeah, completely wrong timing for that. So he took advantage of that fact.
It was
because again, they didn't have Google back then. So nobody walked out of the theater and was like, "Oh shit, let me look that
bullshit.
up and
That's
see
bullshit.
When was Levasseur alive?" Well, that could have never happened.
But you also said you thought it was very interesting that in the movie they were portraying Levasseur as the most renowned crew other than Blood.
He was like Blood was the most famous pirate, and then Levasseur was like right up there with him, like as the two most famous pirates in the Caribbean. Like, oh, okay,
yeah. And we're talking obviously we're talking about the golden age of piracy, part 1. Because if you guys ever watch the show, you always hear me. There's 2 parts, golden age piracy. There's 2. There's 2, buddies. There's 2. You got the first half.
Just stop right now.
You got the first half and you got the second half. We're talking first half. So sorry.
Quickly put a lid on that.
Being obnoxious. So, but I want to go back before we start talking about the stylization of the clothing, because I know you were looking at that too. And that was part of what, hold on, just one sec. But that was part of what we were talking about. We want to do the book to the movie and the movie to the reality, historical stuff. So I think it's the irony of anybody who gets into a trade, anybody who gets into a field where your expertise is, and you start watching a movie, reading something, and you're like, the reality of this is bullshit. Yeah. So you start watching this stuff and like the Levasseur, and then you want to poke holes in it, and then you got to remember, it's a movie. It's entertainment. You're gonna defy physics. You're gonna defy logic, but sometimes it is so hard to grit your teeth and go, yeah. I can't take it. Peter Blood is such a solid name. I like that. Yeah, it is. Peter Blood was a great name for a character too. I want to know how he came up with that.
Oh, easy. He was like,
how many is there again?
How many what?
Emily says, how many is there again? Okay, I don't know what.
How many what, Emily?
How much? With your context, the question, and when I saw it, I don't know. So, but yeah, it's you biting your teeth, but that's what I think I like about this, and also gives
us an hour to rip a book and a movie apart.
I don't think we're ripping it apart. We're pointing out the things that are very interesting, and the fact that the Morgan, so the Captain Morgan thing really was. If we had not done that research last year for Pillage Overload, I don't think we would have ever really known the details of all those different raids.
Yeah, you're saying if we hadn't done the research when we did the Captain Morgan episodes, when if we had listened to it
today,
like we did today, and heard it, we would have never known that part of the book was basically ripped from Morgan's life.
Yeah, moving the cannons from one side and there, we would have laughed. We're like, "Oh, that's hilarious, you dumbasses!" But it was real. It happened. You don't realize. You pay attention. How get name Peter Blood? Syphilis. Damn, Glenn.
Hey, back then, that's quite possible.
Possibly. But that's what I thought was what I really kind of enjoyed when we were really getting into the book more, was just like, wait a minute. We know this story. And it's like you're catching somebody and they're lying, but they're not there, so you can't go, I know you're lying.
So one thing that was
Long story short.
switching gears a little bit. One
Yeah,
thing that
long
was
story short.
interesting about the movie is how stylized the sets were, and very minimalist. So, at least the backgrounds and everything, like they really stylized how they made the signs and how they had like shadows and stuff in the background, and
Okay.
there wasn't a lot of furniture, and there wasn't a lot of
of blurring.
detail in the background. You know, it
Like
was
the
very
focus was here. And
Yeah,
it was
the
blurred
focus
in the
was on
back.
the characters. It wasn't on the backgrounds and like detail and everything. Really, until they got to the island. You know, obviously, when they were on the island, you know, they went to location and they had the tropical backgrounds and all that.
Oh yeah, when
some
they were
of it,
when they were
obviously,
fighting
some
on,
of it you could see was a set, but some of
but
it,
they were fighting on the rocks and the
and even when
water
he
and all
was
that.
even when he was at the camp, some of that, like
More
when he
than
was riding his
blood.
horse back and forth to work to see the governor, you could tell that they were obviously on location.
Some of it was, yeah.
Yeah, but it was just, and you know, as far as the costuming goes, it wasn't horrible. They switched
I
a
didn't
lot
think it
back and
was.
forth because, you know, if you know reenactors, we're not big on boots.
Well, hold on. We got to pirate reenactors, Golden Age piracy, sailors. We're not big on boots.
Yes,
You got to specify which
Yeah.
which reenactors are we talking about?
Yeah, well, as far as the pirates specifically are concerned in
Yeah.
this movie, they switched a lot back and forth. So, like, some guys were wearing buckle shoes and socks, some guys were wearing boots.
Were any of them barefoot on the boat? Did you notice that?
Didn't pay attention
All right.
directly, and I don't know if they showed a whole lot of that when they were on the ship.
I know that
but I
you-
know on, like, when I was paying attention to the costuming on shore, it was more of them switching back and forth. Like, some of the pirates were wearing boots and some were wearing
Which is
buckle shoes.
interesting because as slaves, as long as they were, those shoes definitely do not.
And they weren't
last
even really
all
wearing
year.
buckle shoes, because back then in the 1680s, buckle shoes weren't really a thing yet.
Nope.
They actually
lace.
They laced their shoes.
Yep.
But they had a big, so it would be laced, and then they had a big tongue come up above the lacing.
Yep,
that
that
was
is-
kind of more of what they had.
But you were commenting that you thought that after they got onto that Spanish galleon, that what did you mean by magically have pirate gear? I didn't get that.
Okay, so
I'm just wondering,
Yeah.
from reading the book, from what you said, I'm curious what you thought from the movie, but what I think happened in from the interpretation of the book.
So when they came onto the ship, obviously they had just come from being on the plantation as slaves, right? So they're all wearing like their slave gear and, you know, really ragged clothing. And then all of a sudden they capture them and they show them taking off. When they came out, when they threw Bishop overboard, when they all came out, and some of them were wearing like Spanish armor, and Blood's already got his whole freaking captain uniform on and his hat and everything. I was like, okay, where did you get all that?
I can shed light on that.
Where did that come
shed
from?
light on that. That came from the captain.
Diego? So they stole all their.
So apparently Diego,
the Spanish.
Diego and Captain Blood were the same body type and size. Shocker. Like, that wasn't planned. Anyway, but yes, that.
Well, they
that
didn't
was part
like
of it.
really.
No, they didn't. That's
they
the
didn't
part.
cover that in
that's
the movie.
the part. And they.
So
and,
like
and
you
they
go from
did
them being
cover
slaves and wearing rags, and all of a sudden, like 10 minutes later, they're all in like this perfect pirate gear. Like,
no,
wait
it's totally.
a minute.
The book actually describes that.
Explains that.
So I guess you have to use your imagination, and now they're like us. We're like, wait a minute.
I mean, I could understand the guys in the armor because they wanted to fake
being a Spaniard.
Yeah, they wanted to fake that they were Spaniards when Bishop came aboard, but really,
that part was comical. I saw that and funny. I wondered if that's what you meant, and I remember reading it in the book because I was, like I said, I was doing some reading with the audio without him and with him. But yeah, so that's what it was. And apparently Blood and Diego, the Spaniard that they strapped on the mouth of the cannon, who, by the way, shocker, died because he died of fear. He was just scared himself to death. So that's what happened. But so I was interesting about the boots and not the boots, especially when they were on land and as slaves, because at that point you would think that most of their shit
Well,
would have
as slaves,
worn.
slaves, they weren't ever wearing boots.
So they were were they barefoot?
As pirates, some of them were wearing shoes and some of them wearing boots.
So
as slaves, none of them were wearing boots.
Do you remember if they were wearing shoes or barefoot?
Mostly barefoot, like because when they're in the slave encampment, like at the whatever you want to call it, the plantation, and they were mostly barefoot. But if you see when you see like Blood going back and forth to town, he's wearing shoes.
Buckle shoes.
He's wearing shoes.
That one
tied. Yeah. They weren't actually buckle shoes. They were tied.
And his coat, which is actually
and he was when they showed him, like he had
his coat is not proper though. That's a 1680 coat. That's a 1680 coat. Like he didn't have the big cuffs. So between
it didn't flare like that in the back either. It was very straight down.
These two, the 1680, the 1700 coat. I actually do not have good pictures of it. Mr. Willis actually has a 1700 style coat that was modeled after V&M Museum. I need to get pictures.
Is that an English coat or is that a Spanish coat? Or are you talking about when he was captain?
No, when he was a slave. Because he was still English.
His coat didn't have cuffs on it like that.
Yeah, which
it was very basic. Like
so, maybe more. It was maybe more like a sleeve waistcoat. I need to watch now.
It didn't really have cuffs. It was more like this.
Yeah, which is a sleeve waistcoat.
And the pockets were farther down.
Yeah. Okay.
So it was more like this.
That's a lighter coat. I got this. See, this is my pirate grail. This is my reference for years and all the information.
The Grail book.
This is the Grail. You know, like Indiana Jones, the Holy Grail. This is my Pirate Grail.
Pirate Grail book.
My Pirate Grail, which is going to have its own Pirates as Old as Dirt sticker. To join my jar of dirt stickers right there. So, but the other, so we already talked about King William becoming king in 1689, Blood Return to Port Royal. We already got through all that. And then the other thing that you wanted to point out was actually the battle scenes that they showed with putting the hot coals in the cannons with fire on the French. That was accurate.
Yeah, I want to talk about that. So I've never seen this done before, and I never really paid attention or thought about it because now I'm a cannoneer and I think about that stuff now.
Which is interesting. It's been in other movies. I've never really paid attention to much.
Like, oh, okay, that's a really brilliant thing to do. Mm-hmm. So when in the final battle scene, they were loading hot coals into the cannons and firing hot coals at the ship they were up close. So obviously they didn't have to. If you're going to fire hot coals out of a cannon, they're not going to go very far.
You don't need them to go very far.
But they didn't need them. Range. Yeah, if they're close range. But it was a way to light the sails on fire and light the ship on fire. I'm like, oh my God, that's genius.
And they had the kitchen in the middle of the ship that would have had the coals.
Yeah. Yeah. And they were just, I think in the movie, they were just taking like,
I don't know where it came from. They were
actually burning things to make the coals.
I'm not sure where it came from.
I don't remember exactly where the coals came from, but they fired them at the ship, and when you fire coals, it's going to light the sails on fire. And
it's the quickest way. So other than
there's so much tar and pitch,
and the ship's other than
go right up in flames.
The other different shot, the bells and the chains and all that. That's probably one of the easiest ways to take things down if you really don't give a shit about the ship. We have a new person join us, the River Pirate 13. He says, love your set, background mates, city gate, spirit strings. We did it when we came back from St. Augustine. We actually brought a lot of their stuff back. Unfortunately, the coconut rum did not survive.
Yeah.
It's
It
gone.
lasted about
And when
week,
and then when we
if
see
that.
our rum runner in June, Cynthia O'Leary, she's gonna be bringing us some bottles.
Yeah, we still have some orange flavored
and we still
moonshine.
have the salted caramel whiskey.
We do.
And did we just get the 3 bottles?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we finished the coconut
Yep.
rum. We had
Chad's laughing.
we had the orange moonshine,
orange moonshine.
and
We actually got whiskey.
yeah,
If you don't exactly
salted caramel
know,
whiskey.
if you don't know River Pirate, I don't
She
like
doesn't
whiskey.
drink. But this,
I'll drink their whiskey.
hey,
I'll drink their
you know
whiskey.
it's got to be good if
I
it'll come into this
actually
house and she'll actually drink it.
I took a shot on set.
That's how
live.
good their whiskey is.
I bought it. I allowed it in my house. So there we go. More rum. Yes, we need more rum, Bo. So we are going to have our
Right
rum
here.
runner bring in some rum. But that actually, we managed to not go over too much with the show tonight. There was we had to limit ourselves and on the show with what we were talking about because there's so much difference between the movie and the book and what's reality from the movie to the reality.
And there really is more to talk about especially with the book, because the book is a lot more long-winded than the movie.
Yes.
Obviously, when you're 99% of the time when you're making a movie out of a book, you shrink it down because people want to be entertained and you got to move the story along.
There's always part 2.
But when you're talking about this particular book, there is so much more to this book than the movie is. Like we could probably spend almost a whole nother hour talking
Chad
about
says part
just the
2.
book.
We could do a part 2. We might save part 2 for next season because I want to find those short stories and I want to go through the short stories and I want to identify if they're real pirate exploits.
Or we could do a comparison if we can find the other versions of Captain Blood, especially the one I would especially like to see the one with his son in it.
Oh, the Errol Flynn one?
Yeah.
We can do that. Mayhem
Sean Flynn.
Mayhem says make plans to come back and visit and we can have a whole rum party.
I'm down.
Yeah, we
rum parties are the best kind of parties.
We need considering our June's open up a little bit, maybe we might be able to we'll see. Schedule is shaking out with Loose Cannon and all that, so we'll see what we can do. But on that note, thank you everybody for showing up. Bo, we had Bo, Tucci, Emily, Brownie, Captain Mayhem, Chad, River Pirate. Who else was on the night?
Emily.
I said Emily. Glenster, if you're still hanging around, I hope you got a lot out of this. I know you like when we dig into this stuff. This was I had a really good time tonight.
Bo?
Yeah, I did say Bo.
Okay.
We got to get your ears clean a little bit. I love you. I really do.
I might have dirt in my ears.
You guys, here.
Clean that out.
No. Here, just put it into my jar. Into my jar of dirt. So thank you so much, guys. Yep, Glenn's still there. Thank you so much, guys. We had a lot of fun tonight. Next week is Pie Day. Yes. Hug an engineer.
Please come back for that because we always have fun with this episode.
He rolls his eyes at me, and it's always because it's freaking awesome. So I'm excited about it. Yeah. Engineer, hey.
Engineer, we did a really good one on
last year.
Yeah,
it was last year where you doubted me, and I came strong.
And then the navigation episode that was
a part of that episode. It was part of the same one.
It was great.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to come up with something good this year.
I'm already
trying to top last year's episode is going to be tough.
Trying to have fun with it.
Tough.
So thank you so much for coming and joining us again tonight. Share, like. Oh, and if you guys were here last week, we did hit 200 subscribers. Super excited. Oh, thank you. We're at 207. We want to keep climbing. So thank you, everybody. Until next week.
We appreciate your help because you guys helped out with that.
Yes.
And that was awesome.
Oh my God. You guys are fantastic. As always, you know the drill. Until next week, it's hashtag drink more rum. Be safe. Love you, everybody. And happy party.